Hello, welcome to the Gab and Jules show. No Gabs today, so look who is down with me.
Look
Don
at
Hutchison.
this guy in an Arsenal top. Look at him.
Look at this.
Honestly, he's rubbing it in.
Theo World Cup in the bag.
Oh,
everyone.
my days. I should have brought my West Ham top on.
We will talk about Arsenal and West Ham, of course, Don, because you're here. We'll talk about the title race as well as Man City. But really, in a weekend full of football, and we talk about Serie A, Liga, everything, we have to start in Barcelona, really, and the Clásico. For the first time ever done, a team won the title through the Clásico, after the Clásico.
Wow.
By the result in the Clásico. Barcelona, 29th time now, champion of Spain, well-deserved throughout the season. We'll talk about Champions League before and maybe what they could do to go further.
Yeah.
In terms of the league, no real surprise there.
No, and the standard of goals that they scored were just off the charts.
Yeah.
Like we watch a lot of football, all leagues, all divisions, up and around the world, and you watch elite footballers doing elite things, and you go at the Rashford free kick.
Yeah.
It's the hardest skill because everything that you've been taught when the free kick's there is top right-hand corner.
Yeah.
He's whipped it away into the
Because
top
he's from
left.
the right-hand side of the box. yeah.
Exactly. So it's a harder skill to try and whip that on the angle into the stanchion, and the Olmo flick and the goal.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, you're just watching Barca on another level to where Real Madrid are, but it was a great game.
Even without Lamine Yamal, with De Jong on the bench, Rafinha on the bench. So not even the Barca first team. It was not even the Real Madrid first team because Mbappe, for example, wasn't there. There was no Valverde. We'll talk about the nightmare week that Real Madrid had overall. But this Barca team, certainly going forward, defensively, it's another matter. But going forward, when Dani Olmo is that creative, when Ferran Torres scores the chances that he creates, when Rashford is in that kind of form, it's pretty spectacular. On the Rashford free kick, amazing free kick.
Yeah.
He was very good in this game.
Yeah.
Would you keep him if you were Barcelona?
I would.
If you Rashford, would you want to stay there?
Oh, I think if you're Rashford, I think he was quoted saying he needs a change at Man United. He wants something different. I think Barca's the perfect place for him. He looks like he's a different player. Looks like he's enjoying his football. You see a different demeanour in him. I think you're probably looking at, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you watch Barca compared to Real Madrid now, the sort of DNA's always been in Barcelona to play football.
Yeah.
And play high tempo. Tiki-taka is a little bit of an old school word, but they do play good football, where Real Madrid's all about moments, creating moments and having special moments. But on Rashford, I think wages might have to be lowered. Transfer fee, I don't think for someone that's 28 is that big. 30 million
No, probably
doesn't seem a lot.
Yeah,
so I think the question you probably ask is, if you're not going to sign him, how much money would you have to pay to get a replacement for him?
Yeah.
And that would probably be double.
Yeah.
So economically and from the player's point of view, in terms of his talent, I think it makes absolute sense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, they will have other problems to sort out. What do you do with Lewandowski?
Yeah.
If he goes, how do you replace him? Again, he's on a lot of money. So there's probably something to do there. There's a defense to strengthen.
That's the
probably.
key, I think.
Whether it's Bastoni or, I don't know, Van der Ven type, if you want a bit of pace, those kind of guys. I think if you want to play the flick ball or flick style of football with that super high line that we've mentioned so many times, you obviously need
fast
defenders as fast as possible, right?
It's pretty simple, isn't it? It's amazing when you watch football and you see like the tactics and things like you watch and they're staring you in the face. If you're going to play a high line and Flick's adamant he's going to play that high line, he talks about the risk and reward of closing teams down. It's pretty obvious you need fast defenders.
Yeah.
So Eric Garcia is a good footballer, always been technically very good. But if you're playing the high line, he's not your man. You need a Van der Ven, you need pace. So I would imagine if Hansi Flick is thinking about Champions League football for next year and how they can try and dominate La Liga and go 3 on the spin, but win the Champions League, it feels like they need faster defenders. Still, you need technical ability.
Yeah.
But pace definitely helps.
You said when we were preparing for the show that for them to go further in the Champions League, for example, they were knocked out in the semi-final last season against Inter in that epic semi-final. Crazy game. Quarterfinals this time against Atletico in a game that maybe could have turned a different way.
Yeah.
To go further, and you said it's a bit, when you play that kind of football, it's a bit of the coin, right? Toss of the coin, exactly.
So
it can go your way or the other way.
So it's like you're turning a game, and what he's probably banking on, and his philosophy is, we've got better players than the opposition, but we need them higher up the pitch. So you win the ball back higher up the pitch, you're 20 yards, 30 yards from goal, you're one shot away from scoring, or you're a couple of passes away from getting in. Whereas if you go deep and you're in a low block, you've got a lot further to travel. So it makes absolute sense. But when you've got a high line, and it can work in La Liga for 95% of the time, or a little bit more. Once you go up against elite players and elite teams, you turn the game into a toss of a coin.
Yeah, completely.
Are we going to win? Are we going to lose?
Yeah.
And I don't think coaches like that.
Yeah.
I think coaches want a lot more control.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see what Flick does. By the way, on Hansi Flick and the whole Flick family, we obviously send our condolences after his father passed away on the morning of the game. He still wanted to be there on the bench with the team. They obviously got their trophy. So I think it was probably a great tribute to his father. We'll talk about Real Madrid on the Gab and Jules podcast, Don, as well, and the gap between them and Barcelona and how this could have turned into a humiliation. So make sure you stay with us and listen to that on the Gab and Jules podcast. Right, Don, let's continue a bit on the Clásico and certainly the gap between the two clubs. There was a point towards the end of the first half where I think for 2 minutes and 30 seconds, Real Madrid didn't touch the ball. Every player, including the goalkeeper at Barcelona, touched the ball, and it was literally like a massive rondo.
Yeah.
But you can... I guess if the game...
Do you know what I love? I love the fact that when that was happening, you thought of me.
Yeah, because I thought there's a few things. I was watching and I'm like...
Bam!
Yeah. I'm like, if I was on the pitch, I was going to go mad because it must be so frustrating. The only thing that was missing was the Camp Nou didn't go, hey, every time they pass the ball, sometimes toward the end of the game. Yeah. And this was like the 42nd minute or something like that.
Just go and nail someone.
Exactly. But so... Okay, so Barca could be a brilliant team with the ball, even without De Jong or Lamine and Rafinha and stuff like that. But you just pass it on. And nobody... Like Real Madrid were literally chasing shadows. Like, as a player...
That's if they want to chase shadows, because sometimes they're not even bothered.
Yeah. Is that a structure problem in terms of the tactics? Is that just the players' mentality? They were already 2-0 down and well beaten and kind of humiliated already anyway. Can't be bothered. What is it?
I think it's a combination of they've got a temporary manager in Arbeloa. No, he's not the manager.
No, and he won't be the next season.
But I always go back to when you're a professional footballer, fans love to think that you're playing for the badge on the front of the shirt, and you are.
Yeah.
But you're playing for the name on the back of the shirt. You're playing for your name. You're playing for pride.
Yeah.
And you've got to do it. You've got to run. So if you're Real Madrid and you're going against your arch rivals and they're olaying and you're not getting anywhere near them, I mean, I know it's not in Vinny Jr. or I know Kylian wasn't playing, but it's not in them to go and tackle and smash someone. But surely someone in the middle of the park can.
I know.
Surely you've got to try and set the tempo and say, with a tackle, it's sort of a yellow card tackle, you're sort of mentally you're setting the tone to your teammates going, right, this is not acceptable. Let's get into them a little bit more. Yeah, and then when we find our feet and we stop them from olaying, we can then get on the ball.
Yeah.
But I think that's the whole problem about Real Madrid. It's like, the conversation always sort of goes full circle. It's like Xabi Alonso was brought in to change the mentality.
Yeah, completely.
Players didn't like it. They didn't want to run. They thought he was a school teacher. Yeah. He had to ask them to run, which is a problem.
Yeah, video analysis were too long, apparently.
And then they went upstairs and he got fired.
Yeah.
And now they've got a temporary teacher in Arbeloa and they're walking all over him and he hasn't got the authority.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like...
That's a great summary
So
of it.
where do they go? Do they go back to an Ancelotti like we were talking about before, or a Zidane where you're putting your arm around the players, but then eventually they'll take the mickey and they'll walk all over you at some point? Or do you get someone like Jose, and Florentino Perez has got to say to Jose, in that first team talk, when you give it to your players, give it to them.
Yeah, I mean, he will do that.
Players,
he doesn't need to be told, probably.
Tell them. You don't work, you don't run, out. And see how they react.
Yeah.
And if they don't work and don't run, then you're going to be leaving the biggest club in the world. Shame on you. So start working harder.
Because there's also a case of what do you do with this squad then? Okay, let alone the manager. Let's say they believe in Mourinho, they believe in, I don't know, club won't come. Yeah. But, somebody like that, let's say. But then there's still a lot of rebuilding to do and a lot of work to do with the squad. Who's good enough?
But you can change the culture first, can't you?
True.
So that culture changes first.
Absolutely.
And then the hard workers, the Camavingas and the Tchouaménis and the Valverdes, they'll get on board because they don't mind it.
Yeah.
So they can latch on to, right, we're going to work hard. Then you got to pull Vinny in or Kylian or the guys that don't want to work as hard. And if you get results, you'll pull them alongside. Then you generate momentum.
But then you agree that if you look at two other clubs who changed their DNA and identity recently, Arsenal on one side with Arteta, PSG with Luis Enrique on the other side. For one, it took longer to get to success than the other one, but they also got rid of the players that they didn't think were fitting in.
Yeah.
An Aubameyang, a Neymar, a Verratti, those kind of guys. In this dressing room, I think whoever comes as a manager will look at it and say, okay, him, I don't think he's right for what we're trying to build here or do. Not him. But then good luck, if you don't want Vinny at the club, good luck to sell Vinny to somebody on the money that he's on, the player that he is, outside of Europe, in Europe, I don't know who could right now even afford Vinicius Junior.
It would be funny to think that Real Madrid should try and copy what Barca have done, but at the same time, look at what Luis Enrique's done.
Yeah.
When Messi was there and Kylian Mbappe
Absolutely.
were there. And we all sat it and we went, this is never going to work.
Yeah.
It looks amazing on paper.
Like Real Madrid, really.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it looks amazing on paper, but we all know it's not going to work because you can't carry 3 players in a game if you're not chasing down the ball. So they've proved, Luis Enrique's proved that if you build a good culture and young guys that are willing to work hard on top of the talent and smart recruitment, you're going to be better than signing Galacticos.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the edge that Real Madrid have got to go away from,
Maybe.
which has always been their thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Galacticos.
Yeah,
that's who we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
It might be a time where you go, rip that up
Yeah.
and let's get proper footballers in.
Yeah, probably. As a former player, when you see the week, even before the Clasico on the Sunday, but the week that Real Madrid had with Valverde and Tchouaméni fighting, arguments everywhere, the stories now coming out of that dressing room about Arbeloa and the lack of authority that you just mentioned, players not talking to him falling out with the law of the dressing room. I know you've been there before and you would have been in environments kind of similar.
Yeah.
How do you see it from a player's point of view? Because surely with a preparation like that in this week, without Mbappe as well for the Clasico, they must have known this is going to be tough tonight.
Yeah. I think from a player's point of view, listen, it happens, right?
It happens everywhere,
I guarantee
right?
you.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, every club that I've ever been at, and every ex-pro will tell the same story where fights happen. No, they do because you're 20 guys who see each other every single day, and you see your teammates more than you see your family.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time with them, so eventually, me and you, if we spend 6 weeks together, we're going to have a disagreement. Doesn't mean we don't like each other. It's just inevitable. It's just the way you see football, I see football. But then you add the competitive edge into then me and you playing against each other, and you leave one on me, and then I leave one on you, and then there's the other 18 guys getting involved. It just seems at Real Madrid, there's been stories, I think, of Rudiger slapping a teammate.
Carreras,
it just seems a bit like chaotic. Like, who's pulling these guys into line? Stephen Nicol, I thought, made a fantastic point on this question where he said, from an Arbeloa point of view, the morning after the original spat sort of happened, why would you put them on a 7v7 against each other?
I know.
Use your brain and put them on the same team.
Yeah.
And dilute and make the thing a lot calmer, rather than putting them against each other where it's just going to kick off again. But it just tells you what's going on at that club where there's a lot of pressure. Fights can happen. It's not the end of the world. It's how the manager and the owner deals with it. You pull them into line, you fine them heavily, and this must never happen again. Otherwise, a bigger fine comes or a suspension. Threatening someone's career and 2 weeks' wages or threatening a suspension would seriously make a player jump back into line. I promise you.
I mean, their fine was €500,000 each, Valverde and Tchouaméni, although I guess on their wages, that's not much, but it's more for the principle of it. Valverde could not play the Clasico because he was still obviously recovering from the...
and by the way, I've got to say,
incident.
I didn't buy his line when he said I hit my head on the table. It's like...
I mean, it's probably a bit of everything, probably. But
I didn't buy it. It reminded me of... like when you've had a fight with someone at school and the headmaster's got you in and you've gone, no, I hit my head on the door.
Yeah, who started it? No, not me.
I walked into a door, broke my nose, rubbish. I'm not buying it. I like it. Yeah. I like it because he's trying to diffuse it. Not a chance.
That's the right idea. I think, like you said, in a dressing room, nobody can be friends with each other, right?
No.
It's impossible.
It's impossible.
There are too many different cultures, personalities, influences, everything. The problem is when it gets to that point, right?
Yeah.
Where...
and it keeps happening.
Yeah, exactly.
So if it's the same two players, if it's the same two players that are constantly involved in the same thing, something has to give.
Yeah.
And either you take them both out of the team or drastically you sell one.
Yeah. To be fair, I think if he hadn't been a Clasico on Sunday, I think they would have probably dropped Tchouaméni. I mean, Valverde could not play anyway, but maybe Tchouaméni deserved, on top of the fine, to just miss out the next game or two. It was just the Clasico. They needed him. But even with him, it was not good enough. How long do you think this kind of shift in... how long could it take for Real Madrid to come back to...
well, knowing
even
them,
being just a serious club, really?
Knowing them, probably pretty quickly.
Because with investment and the right investment.
And the right manager,
Yeah, and the right manager.
Yeah, so all them things into consideration. Real Madrid have always been a club where they're being built on the sort of Galacticos if you go back many a year. But even when they won the Champions Leagues, it was moments.
Yeah.
You know, I can't remember the year, but the year when they won the Champions League, everyone had them beaten. PSG had them beaten. I think Man City had them beaten.
Yeah.
They went and scored late goals, and they somehow turned it around and won.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, that's Real Madrid's culture. They can turn it on because they are the team that in the Champions League, when that music happens, they can turn it on. At that club, it feels like it's huge, and it feels like it might take loads of time, but knowing how they work and what they stand for, the right manager comes in, the right group of players with a work ethic, and get it across to the current players. If you fall into line and you're willing to work hard, because Vinny Jr. is one of the best players in the world, and so is Kylian. And then you add Jude Bellingham, and maybe you need to find a cultured number 6.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking before about Casemiro, and we were talking about Luka Modric and Toni Kroos. Maybe that project sort of gone, so you're going to have to do it slightly different. But they need to find a few more technical players.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel like the shift could be that big
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah, you're right.
Contradiction.
Yeah.
Could take years.
Yeah,
if the
yeah.
right manager doesn't come in.
Yeah.
But it feels like knowing them, they could be back pretty quickly.
Well, it was for sure, Don, is that it's a massive summer ahead for Real Madrid.